Okay guys, we got our Mini X, and I'm sure some of you know that it overheats a bit. So this is going to be the second step in our, it's not really that overheats, but the fuel, turns to vapor and it overheats. But we added fans, if you've seen the one video, and now we're going to add an external fuel tank. We're going to take the fuel tank out, and we're going to add ourselves a, plus we'll have more fuel. We got a 5.5 gallon aluminum, and it also comes with some saddle clamp brackets. Oh, that's good. It has little mounting spots. I haven't quite figured out how I want to mount this yet. We'll just, as we go along, we'll do it. I mic'd my bucket pins because I've been trying to figure out, as you saw, we put the root rake on and there's a little bit of slop. So I want to mic them. They're 1 inch, or it's going to be what, 25 millimeter, 25.4 millimeter, whatnot. This is about as close as I can get. 1 inch. This is like 25 bucks, and that's like $4. But gotta do what you gotta do. I got the tank. We got some fuel line. I got a 6 foot of fuel line. I just went and picked up one of these. It's like a crap load of hose clamps. I think it was $8. And if you try to go buy all these individual, it'll be way more than $8. And on the bottom of the fuel tank, how I want to plumb it, well, we're going to run a fuel filter. I don't know if this is a good enough flow. Should be. It's just a gas engine. I got the bar. I got a shut-off valve. I went with brass. They had plastic, but I want it to be a little bit tougher. And I had to get a barb for it. And what else we got? Oh yeah, then we had to find ourselves a, gotta get ourselves a 90 block. What the heck? Oh. Well, we ended up having to get the block, and then we ended up having to get the threaded part. So threading the fuel tank, come out of the fuel tank, and I'm already seeing I'm missing. Oh no, did he give me 2? Alright, he's smart, he gave me 2. So I got another one. We'll come out, we'll come into here, and then fuel line into there. So then we can shut off if we need to. We'll just have to make sure we put the thing in the right direction so it doesn't like go towards the Mini X and then we can't shut it off. So the first plan is we'll back it out here into the little work area. Crack shack. Mess of an area to work in. Eventually we're going to build a shop. But for now, it's shade. But as you can tell, they put the roof on wrong, so the water just runs under it. So let's get this thing fired up. We'll back her up here a little bit and then figure out what kind of bracket we need to make. Imagine just 2 pieces of metal coming down that we can bolt to. I'll let it run a little bit. I'm gonna let it run a little bit to warm up so hydraulic fluid ain't so clunky. Also got hydraulic oil we're gonna change. Got a 5 gallon bucket. I think we only need about 4 probably. Remember when Craftsman used to be pretty decent, but it's alright. But a little bolt tray will be pretty nice to put the bolts in. Okay. I think it's still pretty good. Studding 10 millimeter, it's 12 millimeter for your. I'm gonna take the side plate off. I think the door hinges to it, does it? The door hinge to it? No, okay, good. We'll get this off so we can see how the fuel tank comes off. They have this weird plastic, I guess it's to keep it from scratching the panel. Is that it? That's it. Let's see, something got a plastic shroud on it. I'm trying to see where the fuel line comes in. I don't want to take off all the panels. I got the fan on the other side is the problem. Dang, that motor's hot. The other plan too is I want to make it quieter. So somehow we can get a muffler down. One of the guys on Facebook, the group, he did mention that he was going to run exhaust out the counterweight hole, which that's probably what it's for. It does have this little vent thing here to pull, like it pulls air down into there. And it has a little, I don't know what you call it, metal receptacle thing. I think you can wrap a rope around it to pull start if you had to. Maybe we have to take this off. So let me get this plastic cover off. Tell where the fuel line is. I hope I don't got a lot of fuel in here. Yeah, kind of do. And also we got to figure out where we're going to mount it. Basically here, I believe. Let's see. So basically it'd be about here. So it looks like we're going to have to get 2 pieces of metal. We're going to run them down. I'll probably run them on the inside down because that'll pull the tank in a little bit closer. As we're on the outside, we'll be another couple inches out. So, well, it's not bad. Another question is, do I want to weld it on there? Or do I want to drill and bolt it on there? Alright, let me fiddle around. I'm going to get that cover off. I'm going to try to find out where the fuel line comes in. And the tank, because I just want to take the tank out. I'll get you in here, I'll show you. I mean, it's not crowded, but it's crowded. So we get this fuel tank out of here. This is a big chunk of space that will be open, so air can come right through because the fan's on the other side. I gotta get this little plastic cover off. It's just around the corner a little bit and right to here. Maybe we can move it down a little bit. I don't want to have to mess with all my linkages. Oh wait, is that a fuel? There's a fuel shut off right here. Don't tell me it's back behind there. Or maybe that's just the fuel shut off with the carburetor. The fuel tank's here. I don't know if we're going to drill through and then just bring a line straight down in. We'll have to figure it out once we get it out of the way and all that good stuff and find out where the fuel line is. You got this little cover in the way. Back in a little bit. Okay, current situation. If you take them 2 out, you can pull this down. The fuel line's right in there. It runs down to this shutoff valve right here. So it goes in behind it. I'm trying to figure out how to, I don't want to, well, that's pretty, I don't want to unscrew and take my linkage stuff off because then I'll have to readjust all this crap. It's sort of adjusted pretty decent. There's, back in there's a bolt for the fuel tank. Might just be 2. I'm gonna drain the fuel tank. I don't know if this little plastic knob will slide off or I can just slide it over it. But yeah, I don't want to get too involved in taking linkages apart because I don't want to sit here forever trying to retune it back. It's been a long time since I've really messed with it. When I was in school, we used to tear Briggs and Stratton's completely apart to everything and put all the rings and gap everything. But that's been, 25 years ago. So they're a lot different now, probably. But I'm going to try to get the fuel line disconnected, drain as much as I can out. I got a bucket under here. I don't have one of them crazy flex form funnels, so unfortunately I'm just going to have to drain it onto the frame and whatnot. But it'll be alright. So if you're looking for the fuel line, it's on this side. It's right there. I guess if you want to be lazy, you could cut your fuel line, just barb into it and come on out. But I want to get the fuel tank out. It'll, like I said, provide more airflow. And I guess if you really wanted, you could cut your fuel line and put a T in, and you could run it up, and you could have 2 fuel tanks. But I don't know how that would really work. It'd probably work good, but I don't know. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to get this plastic. I'm technically, this is attached to the fuel tank, so this is going to be flopping around. It does clip up underneath here, so I may have to just cut this, because otherwise it's just going to be in here flopping around, because the bracket to it is on the bottom of the fuel tank for some reason. So technically I may just get rid of this plastic altogether, because all it is just a visual representative of your on-off, you know, and your choke and your you know, throttle control. Or say have it run down, around, up. It would have been better if they would have made a bracket where it came straight through here, right to it, instead of doing all this squirrely around stuff all the way around into there. So, okay, I'll take this loose, and we'll see if we can get to it. I really don't want to cut it. I want to try to keep it stock in case I do sell it, or if the channel ever got big enough, we could give it away if it ain't real messed up by then. But, all right, let me get that bracket or that plastic thing off. I'll drain the fuel, and we'll see how the tank comes out. All right, guys, you're trying to get the fuel line off. You may need some of these little bendy dealies. As it's down, let's see if we can get in here. Down back in there. And it's got one of the devil's hose clamps on it, and it's turned. Mine was turned the wrong direction. So there's a little barb. Boop. So we got it out drained. Now there's a bolt right up under here, 10 millimeter, and there's another one right there. Then I'm going to assume on the other side is going to be the same, because I can see a foot and a foot. So should be 4 10 millimeters. And then I'm not sure how the hell we're getting it out of here. The obvious question would be this way, but this is in the way, and I hate to take all that out because it's adjusted. But I don't really see. Maybe we could take our threaded bolt out and air filter, and maybe it can come out this direction. Because we ain't coming out this direction. So, actually, oh dang it. I was going to take this plate off, but it's welded. So never mind on that. We'll see. I don't want to have to take this off. And the whole seat cover. Nah, I ain't doing that because it's. Alright, so let me get all the bolts out. And I'll see how I can finagle it out. If not, we'll have to take this off. So I can take these bolts out. Then I can pick it up, turn a little bit, and slide it down through and move it out of the way. Like I said, all linkage is adjusted good, and I do not want to have to mess with it. So, let me get it unbolted and see what's what. Alright, fuel tank's loose. The easiest solution to get it out, I messed with my little bolt this here. I don't think this unscrews. Normally they do, but I don't want to break it. So I just took off the muffler, 2 nuts, and we can slide her on out through here. Boop. And there we go. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. And she gets some nice airflow through there. If we need to change the starter, we got plenty of room now to mess with it. And we're gravy. I did use these little wag-do, whatever the hell. Flip levers are pretty nice. Stick it in there, click it shut, boom, good to go. Time will tell how good they are. It looks like the fan has come loose from the stupid brackets. I mean, it's in there. I may zip tie around there or something. That wasn't the best mounting situation, but we got it done. It was hot. It's working a little bit. So I'm going to put the muffler back on, and then we can button this up except for how we're going to run our fuel line. Now, it is right there. Let me put this air filter back on because I don't like having it open so much. All this dirt. We'll get that back on so we're out. Keep it a little bit cleaner. I'm thinking about just drilling straight down through. Tank's going to be up. The hose can run down and straight down through. And then it'll just be a straight drop down into there. Because otherwise we're going to have to The door does have an edge, and we'll have to sneak it in through, but I don't know about that. There's a little barb right there, so we'll probably just come down and right into it. Straight on up. Make sure we don't hit this channel piece. Let me get the muffler back on too. I don't want junk to get in there. And we'll get the air filter back on, and that's not all. I did have to cut the plastic wherever I put it a tiny bit. There it is. I just made a little cut right in it where I could flip this out of the way to get it off. All in all, I kept it in decent shape, but it doesn't need to go back on because the fuel tank was what was holding it on. The fuel tank is two 10 millimeters and then two 13 millimeter nuts. Bolts nuts. All right, let me get that stuff buttoned up. We'll put it back on and we'll start figuring out our mounting system for the fuel tank. I did, fuel did drain down through the machine, so I took a hose and I ran some water down over it and on the stuff just in case we are going to weld. We don't need to catch on fire. Okay guys, after a little thinking, this is what I'm going to do. I got these flat pieces of metal. I'm just going to weld them on here. They're a little off center this way because of the tank. The fill neck is over and the clamp has to be over. That one can move in and out. So tank's going to be a hair this direction. That's not going to affect how it digs. So they did have another tank just like this one, but it was 11 gallons. But it was 35 inches. So it would have stuck out this far. 3 inches on each side. Been a long boy. I decided no. If you see my short, I do have that little electronic pump, fills it up quick, and 5.5 gallons will last a good bit. This would just hold it, 1.5 gallons, maybe 2, and I got a good hour of it. I run full throttle because that's how I've been taught to run heavy equipment. For the hydraulic pump, you full throttle. So what I'm gonna do is unfortunately I really don't want to grind my paint and weld on there, but I will. Maybe I'll just do a little bit of maybe like a 1 inch, less paint disturbed as possible. I don't have this color, so maybe I could take this bar off and just paint it black, but I'm gonna clean these up a bit too, and I guess bolt it on. We'll weld it on there, and we'll drill our 2 holes in each one. I do have a thing of bolts here. And these things come in handy, having all different kind of bolts, nuts, washers, hose clamps. I got a Carter pin one, all kinds of different ones. So, and then we'll get to our plumbing part, which we're gonna have to get some thread tape all that pieces up, get our shutoff valve, make sure it turns right where it doesn't bind up. Do have to punch a hole. It's just gonna be right on the other side of this, down there, boop, right down through. So we should be able to. We might have to wait till we get plumbed up just in case, because we don't want to have to, if you bend the line, it's going to kink it. We want to kind of drop down through. So we'll wait on that for a minute till we get the fuel tank bolted on, get our stuff plumbed in, and then we'll see how we can drop down through. And we're back together down here, and I just like so much more room right there. That air can just zoom right through there. Keep this cool. Thought about mounting another fan in here. I don't know if I need one. Technically a little fan in here would be neat if you could find a little 4-inch or something. Be a pain in the ass to put it in here, but it's an idea. I don't think I'll need one with that fuel tank gone. So I'm gonna go find a welder, find all the welding stuff. It's a Chinese welder, so it's in metric, and it has a thickness setting that I found out. So I'll get it set up and we'll get this on here. It's not going to be the best because it is flux core. I don't have a decent welder right now because, they cost as much as this machine. That's pretty decent right there. I'll try to give it a little more. I'll measure it and get it a little more squared up. But it is going to be off to one side a hair just because how the tank is. And here's the strapping. It does have 2 bolts. We'll tighten it down. Just be careful when you slide it on there. I did scratch it a bit. Now this tank is super, if you can listen, it's like super, it feels like sand. So if you wanted, you hit it with a, I don't know, 500-600 grit, smooth it out. But, and if you want to paint it, you got to get aluminum primer. Stuff I use is like a green. You prime it down, like etches it, and then you can paint it. But I think it'll be alright like that. The one I really wanted to get had a fuel gauge in it, but you know that probably wouldn't last, but a tiny bit, so ain't no worries. I don't really smell no gas in here anymore, but I have a leather apron I'll throw up over here, and then I did spray the area down with water to try to wet it down. I got little marks on things I see. That's pretty good. This was loose. I tightened up a little bit. You just want to check over and make sure things are tight. They do got double nuts on the engine mount, which is nice. Yeah. And the hydraulic lines have their little marks. They do alright. When I changed the fittings on the front, the boom, one of them was, I guess they used a little impact gun or air gun or something, was blow the fuck up. I tried to get it out, and luckily had a tap that was close to the size to start to thread a little bit, and then I threaded one end. So it does have a tiny bit of a counterweight, but no, it's probably not even 100 pounds. We might add something in there. But alright, let me get the welder, get everything out, clean that up a hair, and just redo it, and I'll be back. Okay guys, you have to forgive the welds. I'm using a Chinesium welder on Chinesium metal. I hit with the wire brush, and they're not bad. I had to root it a little bit and then come back. These ones aren't too good, but sand on a block. But she's on there, so we're good there now. I may just wipe it off a bit and shoot some black paint on it, and then we'll put our brackets up. Roughly center it, roughly drill them, and we can bolt them in. I got little standoffs on it. Then it'll stand off a little bit, and it'll sink in. So the reason I didn't run it on the back side, because then it would push it out further and the tank would be out further. So I want to tuck it in just a little bit. Pretty good. That's not bad for the little yes welder here. Let me turn it on. I'll show you the front. Looks weird on the camera, but gotta hit this button until you get to that. And that selects the thickness. When I cranked it all, I guess it resets every time. Well, there you go. It'll give you your thickness. And I'm running, the flex core 34, or not 34, 35, sorry. And then also, I swap mine around. My ground is plus and my lead is negative. Gives you less splat and dingleberries and little balls on it. So that helps out. Then you also run this stick welder too. 220 and 120, but 120 ain't gonna do turds, so I have it hooked with 220. Alright, let me get that little painted and I'll line up the brackets and we'll get it bolted down. I gotta go find my Teflon tape so we can get all the little fittings sealed up. And we're getting close, we're almost done. Thanks for watching, guys. Do like and subscribe and let me know if you're adding a tank to yours. Alright, after some finagling and swapping the tank around because of my way my fitting is, my on-off valve works. The other way around, it was like into here. Also, I didn't, I was going so much, I didn't want to blow these threads out because then that would suck. If it was a metal tank, I could probably grind it and weld it and all that, but I'm not set for aluminum. So I had to shift it a little bit, which then put my strap all the way over to the edge, but we can still get to the fuel tank and all. I could probably slide the whole thing over a little more. Oh yeah, all right, yeah, we could do that. So, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I had to slide it this way. Ideally, the strap would fall in the center. Otherwise, we're going to be way over here, and the whole thing. So, this is where we're going for now. I mean, I guess I could have moved this. This bracket would have to move over, but for now, that's what we got. It just looks like a propane cylinder. I don't know if I want to tilt the fill that way a little bit more. I don't know if it really matters much. We're just going to lose a little bit of room. But that's all in all. Now we got to figure out where we're going to come in with the line. Because the seat comes down to here. Then, the back goes all the way back. Because, I can't sit, I can't get in on it. So, we can't drill here. We could drill through the seat plate, honestly. Because we're not going to be lifting it up anymore to fill it. Because we're going to fill it from here. It's pretty sturdy. It's on there pretty good. It does not look bad. I just scratched the piss out of it trying to finagle this clamp and stuff in there. It is what it is. Like I said, you could paint it. The tank's alright. Fit and finish isn't that good anyway. And I'm sure we're going to bang into something because now instead of having zero tail, well, we still have a little bit of tail swing because the tracks ain't all the way to here. We're going to have a little bit more tail swing that we have to be conscious of. We may even make a bracket that comes out and up, but I don't know. I think we'll be all right if I just pay attention, which, sometimes you don't, so we'll see. Hopefully the fuel tank does not leak because I'm going to be pissed I did all this work and I'll have to send it back, but we'll see. Maybe down the road I'm going to have to get a TIG welder. And they did have square ones. Which would be, I don't know. But, oh no, that's coming out pretty good. So, I will figure out the piping system, how I want to pipe it, and then down the road I'm going to have to get that little, what's that stuff called? It's like a little plastic flex armor. We'll put around the pipe, but for now I got some electrical tape just in case it wants to rub in the hole. Yeah, that's what she said. But now I got to find out. I'm going to have to drill, you know, a fairly decent sized hole, because I believe it is, all right, 1/2 inch OD. So at least a 1/2 inch or a hair bigger, just because, you know. Well, I mean, if it is exact, it can't vibrate. So our filter will just be right on the inside, which this is a 2-size filter. You can put it under there for a smaller one, and all the way up there for a bigger one. Hopefully this is a decent enough flow. It does show mowers and 0 turns, which, you know, basically same thing. So we'll probably just put the filter right up, coming right out as high as we can to keep airflow. I guess it could vaporize too, maybe. But, and then we'll just bring the line straight down and around. Really not in the zip tie, and it should just be hanging. And that's about it. We're almost done. One more hole to punch. Hopefully none of this stuff leaks, which will be upsetting if it does. When that goes that way, shouldn't be able to catch nothing. If we have to, we can make a little plate that comes out. But I don't know. I'm fairly happy with it. Fairly happy with that big amount of room in there too. That's more air volume that can heat up and blow out with the fan, which is kind of how you going in there. But it'll be alright. We will mess with it later. So let me get to figuring out the hole, where we're gonna get the hole. Sorry, but it's probably gonna have to be a nice curve. Well, we're down there. I think we're gonna have to tilt it back a little bit more because we're kind of uphill a little bit. We're gonna lose fuel capacity, so I'm gonna rotate it back a little bit more so we're almost kind of facing downhill. So I'll be back to you guys as soon as I get all that figured out, and hopefully you can see how I did it, and then you can tweak it a little bit. Not bad. Okay, guys, got some fuel in it. Got the valve on. I don't feel anything leaking. I ran down through. We're gonna have to get some plastic flex armor put on here because it might rub the seat a little bit. It's up under the seat. I just decided to come through here. I just punched a little hole. So we just have our line running. I'm gonna come back down. Got our filter in line. I used the existing clamp they had on in, and I also remembered to turn the fuel back on because that would have been interesting trying to figure out what happened. It seems like I got the throttle off a little bit, or maybe that was supposed to be loose like that and I tightened it up. It's not letting it open all the way up, but there we go. Got to fill her up, and I'm gonna go pick up a little John Deere tractor, a little I don't know what it is, 110 or something. It's like a mower, but tractor too. And we're gonna build a dump trailer for that. I need to switch over my tanks, but it pumps all the way up to the top. I'm gonna pump it as far as I go on that, and I'll hook up to my other one, and we'll get her filled up. And I gotta get a button back up and get everything cleaned up and get out of here. So, thank you guys, and that's how I kind of did it. You can run with it the way you want. These are on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description for the tank, and hopefully you guys have a happy modding of yours, and hopefully this works out pretty good. Time will tell. So I'm not endorsing it right now, so we'll see after a while. I got about 7 hours on the machine itself, no hours on the tank yet, so stay tuned for more. Maybe the next thing will be we'll mess with that tractor maybe, or I have a linear actuator motor and a switch, a dump switch. It's a slow motor, but we're going to build a little dump trailer. The wife can drive the tractor with the dump trailer and take it to the holes and stuff to fill in. And we'll use this and she'll use that. So we'll see how that works. All right, guys. We'll catch you later.